Yo, Friday coming in super duper hot. We got union stuff to talk about, next day delivery from Carvana, or same day delivery from Carvana. And let's get to hacking some Teslas.
Yes. I love how you said that.
Let's get to it.
Like, let's do it. Here we go.
I can't believe it's Friday. This week is like,
man, I was telling Nathan, our producer, he sits in the wings. I was telling him yesterday, I was like, I don't know how these people travel every single week of the year, like what they do with their lives to keep them in order. Because I'm like, I travel one day in a week and all other days feel like just sideways.
Yeah, I know. Well, especially, I mean, it's funny though. Like our Wednesday travel schedule, it's like we were home for dinner.
I know.
I mean, it's like we do travel a lot from time to time, but we're like, oh, we travel and mess us up. It's like, well, I woke up just pretty close to normal time, and I was actually home about 10 minutes earlier than I usually am.
Same.
If I'm in
my wife was like, "What is this life? Like,
what
you
are you
go
doing
from
home?
2 years ago, you like just drive home and back and forth to work, never travel to like, you know, my son was just like, yeah, Dad's just in Baltimore. They were hanging out with friends. Dad's in Baltimore. And they were like, Skirt, what?
Yeah. My kids' friends follow my Instagram and they still don't really know what I do.
Right.
But they're always like, kind of like, oh, you were just like, oh, yeah, I didn't really see anything. I was kind of just in a hotel the whole time. But, you know, we make it look a lot more fun. On
hey, this is random. I was at some friends' houses last night, new friends. And I just want to, like, to the industry, to people that are in the industry, expand our thinking, because I'm there and the two of the guys I hadn't met before, they were like, yeah, we're in the auto industry. I was like, oh, cool. What do you do? One is in parts manufacturing, supplying tier 1 and OEM parts. Like,
were you like
for chassis, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, this cat's in it. And like, I'm telling him about More Than Cars. He's like, yeah, that's amazing, because like, if people don't sell cars, I don't have a job, right?
So you're saying the circle's bigger than we thought.
It's way bigger. And then the next guy goes, yeah, I'm in the auto industry. What do you do? Oh, I work for Geico. I'm in auto insurance.
Sure.
I'm like,
I didn't even think of that.
Like, my brain doesn't even go there. But like, if we don't sell, service, and body shop cars, like, my man doesn't have a job, right? And so,
you know, parts to put in them. Oh, I love that thinking. You know? Wow, we'll bring some of that. We'll bring some of that to a SodaCon. Actually, we were going to talk about this a lot. So if you're not at a SodaCon, we truly believe this is the best place you can be for 2 days in September, 26th and 27th, with a reception on the 25th. At SodaCon.com, you can see the speakers we've released. We just had some other speakers confirmed yesterday, which are other amazing speakers. But to your point of broadening our horizons, we're going to have a very special guest there. His name is John Sacco, and he is in the metals recycling business. So they supply equipment to metal recycling plants, scrap yards, and they've made an insane documentary called Repurposed. It's like a docu-series. Our boy Darren Doan is producing it. It's actually on Amazon Prime, Repurposed. And he's flying out to a SodaCon to talk about how important the recycling business is to automotive and keeping America up. He's an amazing guy. Darren's amazing. He's just one of the threads of texture we're going to have at a SodaCon. We're calling it the South by Southwest of the auto industry. So if you haven't looked at it, check it out at SodaCon.com. We promise you will go home changed for the better and inspired and energized. And we'll try to give you a little taste of that on the podcast this morning. Talk about some news. Huh?
Let's do it.
Okay. Oh, okay. Probably worth mentioning right after this show is over. We're heading right over to Clubhouse to David Long's All Things Used Cars room. Very controversial topic today. The topic is fire your vendors. I don't know what it means. He made the topic up. We're going to go. Yeah, we'll certainly have a spirited conversation over there. Okay, speaking of spirited conversations.
Oh, see,
I didn't do it on purpose. It just hit me. Citing the 40% rise of CEO salaries of the big three automakers, Shawn Fain, the president of the UAW. Oh, yeah, must be the money. Shawn Fain, president of United Auto Workers Union, announced the union would be seeking wage increases of 20% upon the ratification, plus an additional 5% over the next 4 years, totaling a 40% wage increase. So he said, quote, the CEOs of the big three over the last 4-year agreement have enjoyed a 40% increase on pay on average. So I don't think our workers asking for their equitable share when inflation's gone up over 20%. I don't think it's a lot for our members to get a lot to ask for our members to get their fair share. Also included in the proposal is a 32-hour work week with a full 40 hours of pay. He said, I think it will create more jobs and more opportunities for people to get their share in the economy. I'm not sure I'm following his logic, but I grew up in a union household. My dad was a union phone installer. And like we used to joke, like the union chant is more money, less work, more money, right? And so this couldn't fit that any closely. GM released a statement pushing back on that initial kind of, I don't know if we'll call them demands yet, but they pushed back against the broad demand, saying that they would threaten our ability to do what's right for the long-term benefit of the team, and also alluded to the fact that there are other entrants coming in that are non-union labor. And they said, we think it's important to protect U.S. manufacturing and jobs in an industry that is dominated by non-unionized competition.
That's the trigger statement for me. For all of like the negotiation tactics of start high, meet in the middle type things, I get what they're doing, just pointing to profitability and coming back over here to, what the workers are getting. And I think there's going to be, there's always like some meet in the middle whenever you come to a negotiation. But for the OEMs this early in the game, just to kind of poke the fire with like, hey guys, it's actually important that we kind of keep expenses light so that everybody keeps their job in this looming like non-unionized workforce scenario with all of these new entrants. That's like really, really poking the fire early on in these negotiations, because that's kind of shots fired on, hey, it's not just, do we want to give you raises, but like, is there a future for unionized work in manufacturing 4, 5, 6 years from now? So
yeah, we've seen a number of comments on LinkedIn and conversations going on talking about how this is kind of the most aggressive stance a union leader has ever taken.
Yep.
And how it's pretty dangerous for both sides of the fence.
It absolutely is.
And so we're hoping that, cool heads prevail, that the industry kind of on both sides kind of bands together and makes right. But from a dealer, if you're a dealer, guess what? Kind of along the lines of what David Long says about, is there a recession? I don't know. I don't care. In our stores, we're going to create our own economy.
Yep.
I think dealers have an opportunity to create their own scenario with the things they can control.
Well, as we watch out for used vehicles, right? In this Q4 environment, it's like, hey, used is the way to go. If you're not a great used car operation, one, getting all things used cars, watching what your used car operation looks like, especially for the big three, like the new car operations may not look the same in Q4 as they have. So you got to get down with used car operations. Speaking of used car operations,
stop. Segue.
Perfect. Carvana has begun offering same-day vehicle delivery to customers in specific areas, Arizona, Indiana, and North Carolina, after initially launching and testing the program in the greater Phoenix area where their headquarters is. Same-day delivery eligibility depends on the proximity of the customer to the selected vehicle. That makes a lot of sense. Amidst some other order sentiments and order logistics, Carvana plans to further roll out the offering across its nationwide footprint in upcoming months. And they are saying their expanded infrastructure, specifically when they acquired Odessa and have all the auctions and reconditioning facilities, plus all the paperwork processing capacity that they have, they said makes this same-day delivery service possible. Man, same-day delivery sounds familiar, doesn't it?
It sounds familiar. It's like, go to the dealership, pick up a car,
sit in the car, drive it away,
sit in car, drive car away. Yeah. The difference here is like they're definitely pulling from a wider radius. Like they're making the ability to move a car across a couple few hundred miles a little bit quicker, because they have this delivery network, this storage network. And this was the play that I thought was going to be a lot quicker when they acquired Odessa just under a year and a half ago, because just like Driveway is doing and attempting to do, and the way that Lithia is coming out, is the delivery center network is absolutely the fastest way to get into more places in the US. So I'm not surprised by this. And I think like you just have to watch out, because if people can get cars quicker that aren't as close to them without having to drive to them, they're going to be looking for that same convenience from dealerships as well. And so how do you leverage your networks? How do you leverage your medium to large size regional group to make sure that that happens? We were just at West Her, and they have like a whole delivery network within their 2.5 hour radius that just moves vehicles back and forth, utilizing technology and people resources to make sure that they can seamlessly move cars between their dealerships. And if you're not doing that and you are a mid to large size group regionally located, I would highly look at that, just because Carvana is going to set the expectation. Like, table stakes are now higher.
Absolutely, especially with same day. And you think one thing that Carvana has done super well is the front door being their homepage and their website, right? And that convenience, pair that with logistics, right? And dealers can do the same thing.
Absolutely.
They can do it better because you have actually humans.
They can do it better. Yeah, way more humans that care. So,
but will they? Will they? But speaking of things you can or can't do,
stop. Segue time.
Apparently you can.
Apparently you can. So there's 3 students from, and I'm going to butcher this, Technische Universität Berlin.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Way better than I would have done it.
Okay. Look, I had a little German in college because I was a music major. Give it to me. An independent researcher have cracked Tesla's infotainment system, scoring free upgrades like those infamous heated rear seats. Basically what they've said is, hey, look, we've jailbroken a car and they can unlock things like self-driving, navigation features where normally they were off limits. The researchers were also able to extract personal information from the car, such as contacts, calendar appointments, call logs, visited locations, Wi-Fi passwords, and session tokens from email accounts.
Whoa.
Yeah,
that's a big one.
Whole bunches of stuff. I was following this yesterday. It was all over the internet. It was in our daily email. We thought we'd have to put it here. The technique requires them to have access physically to the car, but what they've done is done something called voltage glitching, which involves manipulating the supply voltage, so how much voltage is going into the processor, and overloading it so that then it glitches, and then they just basically slide right in, and then they get right to the processor and they can access everything that car has to offer. And this is the scary part, right? Up until now, Tesla and all these manufacturers are like, oh, someone figured that out. Beep, boop, beep, boop. Software upgrade, right? This one, they're starting to say, hey, look, this actually may require a hardware upgrade to work around. So watch some jailbreak shots.
I don't know. I mean, like, I'm thinking of a very Elon Musk play would be to make something so that once the voltage gets messed with, the whole car delivers like a taser-like electric shock to whoever is doing it, right? He's like, oh yeah, watch this. I don't know. I think it could happen, but bound to happen, right? Like, what's going to spring up from this? Like, if it's electronic, if it's got valuable data, if it's got features, man, you know what it's like. It's the end. It's the never
ending. Technology is always going to be something to crack for people, but this is just fun. It's just, if I'm in a dealership, my guess is people are watching this on the TikTok and the Instagram and the Twitter or the X or whatever, and they're just talking about it. So it's just something that being aware that people are thinking about how their software in their car is a lot more related to their software in their phone than they ever thought it was. And them approaching vehicle purchasing with that mindset, just something to be aware of on that showroom floor.
No doubt. Well, look, we're heading over to the Clubhouse. Just search Clubhouse in the App Store. Go to it. Search all things used cars. We're going to be there. Probably a couple hundred of our friends are going to be there. And we're going to talk about the industry. Head to asotocon.com. Visit us in September.